Hi, Elaine. Thank you for being one of my guests on the Resilient Entrepreneur Show.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here to chat with you.
This is going to be fun. I really enjoyed meeting you the other day or last month at the NABO Empower Hour for women business owners.
Yeah,
And
that was
so,
great.
Elaine, Elaine is the founder of the Bra Recyclers. As you can see, her beautiful art on the wall behind her, which is a purpose driven recycling company that helps reduce landfill waste and support underserved communities. And she has a social arm and a nonprofit arm of her business. But tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, I started this back in 2008, and we are a social enterprise. And again, I love saying that because, again, we're very, as you said, it purpose driven. We saw a need and an opportunity to help women who were going into shelters, being rescued from human trafficking, et cetera, just challenged. And, we're like, hey, what can I do about this? They were coming into these programs, of course, have nothing. And, one of the biggest things that we were hearing is that they needed bras. And I didn't know what to do with my bras. I figured other women didn't know what to do with their bras. So I'm like, hey, what can I do? Let's look into this. And I would have, again, my background, I came out of IT like you, and I would have never thought I'd be doing something like this. But who knows where your journey's going to go? And it happened to be, in the bra business, I guess, looking at how to basically, rescue a lot of bras that will end up in landfills. People don't know what to do with them, but they can make a huge impact on women and girls who are just transitioning back to self sufficiency. So it started there for me. We started out with a couple organizations, and now we have over 140 plus organizations who have signed up with us through our nonprofit arm, the Undie Chest, and we donate to them. And the big thing is that now we also work with schools. We work with Title I schools, and we're partnering with the school nurses and teachers to get underwear into our classrooms, into the schools, so the kids can focus on school and not their wardrobe.
I love that you found a problem and you had a creative solution for it. And even if it is taboo to talk about, and you found something and made it more accessible and reachable and discussable, right?
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
then the art, because some of them are on runways, like you talked about. There was one in like the Brazil festival in Rio de Janeiro and stuff.
Yeah,
And so some of them
yes.
is like making it like, doesn't need to be a secretive, private
Absolutely,
thing.
and I think we have to get away from saying it's taboo. We all, most of us wear bras. It's part of
Yeah,
what we wear. You just
yeah.
don't see it all the time. And so, like I said, the bras on the wall, we would do a annual bazaar art contest, is what we call it. And we put the word out. Hey, we're looking for people to decorate bras and tell their stories. So there's some amazing stories with a lot of the bras. One of them, the one with the butterfly, is from a woman who had breast cancer, and so she talked about her journey, having breast cancer, and it's called Metamorphosis, and just that process she went through her journey with breast cancer. And there's just so many more great stories, some from the women in the shelters who they would kind of use that as kind of a therapy. They can decorate and then they would tell their stories. And sometimes they weren't the prettiest decorated bras, but the stories that went with them
Right.
was amazing. So it's another way to release and just like, let me just tell my story. Let me get this out there. And it's okay. It's okay, So yeah.
That. And 'tis the season for charity, so it's important to know that there are other places that we can give time or money or donations to in this season of generosity, right? And so being able to
Absolutely.
plug your business is also cool.
Yeah, it's great to what's really nice is that we have the nonprofit arm. So we're always looking for, monetary donations. Undiechest.org is our nonprofit arm. So it costs money to do good. And I have to always explain that to people because it does. It's, I think what's been so amazing, Kate, is that the amount of requests that we have been receiving this year has been crazy because, as you know, so much funding has been taken away. But I think we have a waiting list of close to 40 organizations who are just, we need bras, we need underwear because a lot of their funding's been taken. And again, we're
Yeah.
just one organization, and so it's like, oh my God, we can only help so many people. But it's just heartbreaking to get the emails
Oh,
and even the letters from individuals saying, I need underwear for my kids. I'm trying to get a job, and I need to have good bra and underwear. It's just heartbreaking.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I will go through my drawer because I am now a sports bra comfort over style point of my life, especially when I
Yep,
work remotely from home. So there are some ones that I probably can give, but also
absolutely.
purchase. And similarly, I do volunteer work at Dress for Success, and they also help
Yes.
women, right, to clothe for
Yeah.
an interview to land a job. Not always women in, coming out of SA or trafficking situations, but also, women that need that extra support.
Yes.
Support,
Absolutely.
get it? Support
Support. I got it.
should be part of your tagline.
Absolutely.
So this is like the quick fire intro stuff that I
Yeah.
just do to get to know other business owners. We met through NABO, the National Association of Women Business Owners, which I am a huge proponent of. Short answers before we get into the story part, but who was the first hire in your business, or is it just you and your husband that are doing this right now together?
Yeah, well, the first hire when I think back, well, there were actually 2 that came about the same an accountant and lawyer. Those were
Oh,
my
for
first
sure.
hires, I really had to figure out the structure for this because initially I was thinking about, nonprofit arm, but I really didn't wanna go nonprofit initially, so an accountant and lawyer to kinda give me that to talk about the structure that made sense for me.
Absolutely. Those are great. That's
Mhm,
great.
mhm.
Um, do you use any software tools that you just can't live without on your day-to-day basis?
Absolute Salesforce. My CRM
Yeah,
app,
we all need a
Salesforce.
CRM. You got to keep a
Yes,
database, right? Something to keep track of
absolutely.
customers.
I couldn't do without it.
And do you use any AI? Now AI is all like the hot thing.
Yeah, I do. ChatGPT and Claude I use on I think, daily basis. And I use it more for either research or just like running something. I want to run something through it and like, okay, should I say this differently? Wonderful tools. Wonderful tools.
Yes. Yes. I agree. Like we were impressed when Alexa came out or Siri came out, and I have to be quiet in case my phone wants to listen now because I said those words, right? But now the what you can do with Claude
Yeah,
or Gemini or ChatGPT is just taking it to a whole nother level.
absolutely. They can be a wonderful friend for you. Absolutely. Your best friend.
Yeah. And when you're small, you need to bounce ideas or reframe,
Yes.
rewrite, change, do some research,
Yeah.
competitive
Yeah.
research, market intel research, right?
Yeah,
So,
and you have to be smart about using it. So, a lot of times I will write something out first, versus saying, "Hey, write this for me." I'll write something out. "Hey, give me some more ideas. How can I make this better? What voice do I want it to, be in? What are the
yeah.
key points?" So I think it's all about creating those right prompts when you're asking, because that's how it gives back, good information.
And it gets to know your professional tone or your
It does.
voice or if you use humor or if you're
Yes,
formal or kind of so it sounds more like you and it doesn't read like, AI did it too.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So now is like the fun storytelling part. I like to learn. Everyone has their proudest achievement or a highlight reel or a moment that you are proud of as a business owner. And so we'll start with the share the success story part, and then I'd like to really just know like what is your proudest achievement? Like what are you most happy about?
Gosh, there's so many. I think, as a social entrepreneur, there's just so many, there have been so many high points. I think, there's been some great awards I've received. And I think the one that I got, it was back in 2013. I got a humanitarian award. And I thought about that when I first heard I was going to get that. It was through the NAACP. I'm like, oh my God, I think as women, we were like, oh no, 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 that's not me. But we have to pump ourselves up more and accept we are doing great things, because when you hear that word humanitarian, you think about all these amazing people who have that received that title or award, and it's like, oh my God, there's some big shoes I need to fill to step into that. But you know what, it's like, no, I am doing good. I am helping lots of people in a different way with something as simple as bras. But that was a big achievement that someone recognized what we were doing in the community for women. So that was, I think, one of the big ones. I think the second one of the biggest achievements is how we operate in terms of our operational model. We found an amazing organization here. And again, as a social entrepreneur, we're always looking at how to give back, right, in many ways. So we partner with a group here called EpiHab, and they work with people who have disabilities. And so the hardest part of our industry, and particularly the textile recycling, is very labor intensive, and it was hard to find good workers. And we were really struggling. And so I reached out to them and I'm like, here's what we do. Do you think we can work with you? And they were like, absolutely. So we work with people who have some form of disability. They can't work in a normal work environment. And so when we get a big load in, shipment in, they help us sort. So we're able to train them. So my husband works on that end of it, train them what to look for, how to sort, are the snaps, is it stained, whatever. It is the best partnership ever. And we're giving back to people too to create job opportunities for them. So that, I have to say, is top of the list, best achievement, best decision ever.
I love that. And also just when it's mutually beneficial, right? And like both parties benefit and you're giving job opportunities to people that maybe couldn't have traditional
Yes,
employment, but they can still add value and
absolutely.
serve. I think that's huge.
Huge. And
I
more
really love
companies
that
need to look at.
when organizations that serve people come together and partner,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's amazing partnership. Yeah, amazing partnership.
I love that. I love that. All right. But we also know that being a business owner is a struggle. It's
Yeah,
hard.
it is hard.
And people only share the highlight reel and the success. And like, you mentioned 2013, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that you've been an entrepreneur for a
Long
dozen
time.
years, right?
Yes.
So businesses are not only, the highlight reels and the successes and the achievements. There are a lot of failures, mistakes, lessons, bad decisions, things that are hard that you do along that journey. So, are you willing to share maybe one
For
story about a
sure.
setback or a
Yeah,
challenge that you
yeah,
had to
and
overcome?
yeah, and I always like to say instead of failure or opportunity or learning, some type of learning experience. But I think, and for many entrepreneurs, COVID was a huge one, and I think it caught a lot of people off guard. It caught us off guard for sure. I think it was a time for many entrepreneurs, including ourselves. So a lot of times we, as they talk about, we have that box, that area of expertise that we know we have. We kind of stay in that box. I think COVID was a time to tear down that box, rebuild that box, add on to that box, whatever, create a whole new box. Because it really, I think it caught us off guard a bit because, we have a lot of drop off locations around the country where people can bring in their bras and drop them off. Well, guess what? During COVID, they all closed. So we had to like pivot. We had to really think. And I think what was great is that, that's where you go back and pull all your experiences and things you've learned, being in the corporate world for 20 plus years, went back to just pull, what can I pull in to like think about how we pivot? And coming out of the IT world, I always think about systems, how to automate. And so we had to really think about now, how do we market to more online retailers versus those who have storefronts? And that's what we did. So I kind of had to build out our system where we allow people to send their bras directly into us. When they came in, we scanned them, automatically sent back confirmation. So it was rethinking who we were, targeting, our target market was, and then how to automate that so it wasn't so labor intensive. So it was a good kind of, I guess, not failure or opportunity that happened to us, because that was a whole new kind of change of our model and who we were targeting and going after, and actually allowing more people to recycle, because now you can go online, click on a retailer's link, send in your bras, and there you go. So that was a good thing. It was tough initially, again, because you go, oh my God, what just
Right, right.
happened?
But,
But
but
it was a
but
good
the
learning.
adaptability, right? And a lot of companies that
Absolutely.
were brick and mortar and only local had to immediately
Oh my
think
gosh.
about
closing.
online and e-commerce and right
Or
and
closed down.
digital and
Yeah, absolutely. Because we definitely have partners who closed down also. I mean, a lot of retailers really got hit hard, during
yeah,
COVID. But we did lose some partners because they closed. But it was just an opportunity to rethink that whole model, and also for me, how, again, being, and coming from that IT area, thinking about how we use data to provide our retailers with reports and data about their customers, data about the recycling they're doing and their environmental impact. So we started using that and sharing that out more since sustainability became, this big buzzword for a lot of
yeah.
retailers. So it just made my mind got to clicking. It's like, okay, what can we do? We need to rebuild this box again or add on to it. Instead of a single family house, we're going to have a multi-family. So we got to have all different things going on. So yeah, that was a big time, a big pivot time.
I love that. And that you put your IT background to use and you thought about systems and scalability and
Yes.
digital and data. And, how do you get a repeat customer or repeat
Yes.
partner by showing them the results and the impact and the data of what that did, right? So that's huge
Absolutely.
that you brought the
Absolutely.
IT skills into your
Yeah.
business
I
as a
I
retailer.
always try to bring those up. That has been, I think, one of my biggest skills sets I have is that I'm always thinking how to automate and, build better systems.
Yeah. And I think that that's important as a business is because you
It
can't
is.
grow and scale without systems and processes and tools, right? I
Yep,
mean,
I would
we're
agree.
limited by
Yeah.
the number of
Yeah.
hours in a day.
Absolutely. And we know we need not be afraid of systems. They're okay. It's okay. It's okay.
That's great. So let's talk about the future and what's next. And ending in more like the quick answer side. But what are your plans to grow your business? I mean, we're in December, so the
Yeah.
rest of this year, but like everyone's planning for 2026. So what does growth plans in 2026 look like for you?
Yeah, and definitely it's kind of reprioritizing. Again, as I know we've talked before, we've been hit pretty hard with the tariffs here. So again, it's kind of like a COVID situation where I'm trying to pivot. So it's reprioritizing, looking at other services that we can offer to our retailers and our partners. So that's a big one. That's a big one for me because I have no idea what's going to happen in the future with tariffs and things. So we need to think outside the box on this one again and figure out how to offer different services or how we revamp.
Yeah, it's going to change just like COVID changed it, right? You got to
Ah,
change your business and adapt to the market
absolutely.
and the
Absolutely.
restrictions. So
Absolutely.
what is the first step that you're taking? Did you outsource like you did to a lawyer? Did you find someone to educate you on tariffs, someone that
You
has
know,
more
yeah, well, I
financial
definitely did a
awareness?
lot of that on my own in terms of really understanding that, but I think it's just planning. And also what I did is that we started asking our partners, what do they need? What can we do differently to help them? So how can we help them help us? And that was the question basically that I posed. So that just opens up some more doors for us in terms of, okay, now we can provide these other services that you're saying you want. And so it's, again, I'm bringing that system piece back in. Now, how do we
Yeah.
build out some things so that we can offer these as services to our retailers? So that's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a big one too.
Customer research and partner research. I want to build what you need. I don't want to be building what I think you need, right? And I think
Absolutely. And it was great to
that's
get that feedback. Some was negative, which is fine. I want to hear that. What are we not doing? What can we do better? I always want to hear that. And I think all business owners need to hear that because no one's
right.
doing everything perfect. So
We're all growing. Hmm. Well, that's good. That I think is really important as a business owner is to be open to the feedback, both positive and negative, so that you do know how to right adapt and pivot and change. Um, so I like to end with how can I help? What can I do to help? And I love the organization that we both are a part of. And even though we live in different cities and we have different types of businesses, it's a community of women business owners supporting each other so that you have someone to go to and be like, hey, I'm facing this challenge or I'm thinking of this. And like, have you been there, done that before? Because I know it can be very lonely being a business owner and an entrepreneur. Yeah, I love that. And being a part of a community. Well, thank you, Elaine. This has been fun. I appreciate your openness and honesty and transparency and like I love the creativity and how you chose to solve a problem. I always admire charitable giving and philanthropy and community service, and so the fact that you were able to build a business to support people in need is huge. So thank you so much for being a guest on my show, my tiny little podcast. Yes, happy holidays. And um I also end with like, now that you've been a guest on my show, who do you think or recommend that I should interview next? Because part of this is for me to have other women share their stories. I love that. Well, I would love to meet Barb and interview her and get her on a future show. So that would be great. Well, thank you again and happy holidays. And I hope you have an amazing, successful, prosperous new year as well.